Yeah.
Welcome to the show, and then we finally have someone that we admire in the industry joining us today. And today, here you go. You can have an introduction to us, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here. My name is Vito Melchionna. I'm originally from Venezuela, but I have Italian roots. So this is why, the country had a really bad situation. Well, still has it. So I decided to move to Europe, and now I'm living in Switzerland. I'm a software developer. Have a little bit more than 6 years of experience, and in 2020. I moved to the Web3 space first as an investor, but then I realized that I wanted to do something more, especially since I have these IT skills. So the next logical step for me was to move to provide an infrastructure for blockchain. And of course, one of my first decisions that I had to take is what ecosystem should I support first. So this is where I run into Cardano.
Yes.
And I started my a small stake pool there, and it's been quite a journey. But right after it, of course, I can say I never settled. So my next step was to learn how to also code smart contracts and build a D app. So now I'm actually working on 2 D apps. Unfortunately, not on Cardano, not yet. But they are based on the Oasis ecosystem, which is a very, very interesting and new ecosystem in the space, offering privacy-enabled contracts and NFTs. And one of the solutions that I'm building is For Sale, which is a marketplace for tokenized agreements. So basically, you will be able to purchase and rent real estate with NFTs. Quite exciting. And besides that, I'm also building, of course, with a team, a protocol that is called Uniche. And this is a confidential NFT protocol that is going to allow people to mint NFTs with unlockable content. And of course, everything is based on the Oasis technology, but we want to bridge this and make it blockchain agnostic. So looking forward to do this with Cardano as well.
Yeah. Awesome. So, you have so many hats. I don't know which ones to start. Maybe, for people that don't know, what is a validator? Because you're a stake pool operator, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. And so it's akin to a validator, or am I mislabeling things?
No, that's correct. I mean, there are several labels for this job, depending on the consensus where you are actually operating.
Okay.
So I would say if you're validating proof of work transactions, then you're usually called a miner.
Yeah.
Because of the proof of work consensus, this is like the terminology that is used. But in the proof of stake consensus world, then you're called a validator. But you still do the same job pretty much. You provide infrastructure, hardware, and you just look that this hardware is up and running 24/7, and that is actually up to date with all the latest code of the distributed system.
Yeah.
So in my case, I could say I'm a validator or a stake pool operator for Cardano.
Okay. What else can so how techy is it? Because for the average person, they know miners and they know validators. So maybe first, the big difference is, as I see behind you do not have a rack of server with ASIC hardware and all of that. So validators does require less hardware. So
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I would say that's the biggest difference. If you are a miner, you usually have a lot of computers running, and I'm pretty sure no one would have that at home at all. Just having this huge rack of computers consuming all of this energy, and you need to cool it down as well. So definitely is a I would say proof of stake. It's not the like last solution of scalability in terms of consensus, but it's definitely a huge improvement. And I'm convinced that this is a very, very first nice step in the right direction. So of course we've seen already what happened with Ethereum and Bitcoin in terms of scalability. Now, if you want to become a validator or a miner, you need pretty much a huge infrastructure with machines. So of course this is a little bit out of the question for me, because I'm also like a very passionate environmentalist. So I'm super against running, like going to this direction. So in also monetary wise, it doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
So this is why I decided to go for something more ecological, something that I could run at home. So I started to with Cardano, and I realized you pretty much need 2 computers at least to run a stake pool.
One as a backup, or?
No, this is without backups. Of course, you want to have backups, but the minimum topology that you need, the minimum infrastructure is 2 computers.
Okay.
And they should also be independent from each other in terms of hardware. This is like the best practice.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in my case, I have 3 computers and a logical backup.
Yeah.
So in the Cardano topology, you have 2. You need relays and a block producer. And your relays are pretty much the computers that are talking to the other relays, which means the other validators.
Yeah.
And these computers are constantly communicating when validating a block. So they're when a block gets produced, these relays broadcast this new block in the blockchain, and the other relays pretty much certify this block is actually legit. And these certifications give all this, let's say, security to say, okay, this new block was properly validated. So yeah, just to come back, I have 3 computers. And I first started to use VPS, which is like a virtual server. I used, I think it was OpenOcean. DigitalOcean. I messed up.
The big one.
The big one, DigitalOcean. But then I realized this is actually not a very good idea, because it's a data center and we're running something that is decentralized. So I decided that I was gonna improve my infrastructure at home and just buy small computers, because the other thing that is really nice about the proof of stake consensus is that you don't need much electricity, and actually you can run a stake pool with Raspberry Pis. How cool is that?
Yeah.
So what I just did was to buy these mini PCs, which were I would say fairly cheap in terms of price, and just got a new router, like set everything up at home to host this, and now I have this bare metal servers at home. They're super quiet. They require seriously like almost as much electricity as my working laptop, even less.
Yeah.
And that's the magic of it. But just to come back to the tech question, I would say you need at least to have some knowledge about Linux, because configuring these servers is everything about Linux. So you need to know a little bit like what's the architecture, how it works, how to operate the command lines. You also need cybersecurity skills. Like you can run a stake pool without much tech knowledge, to be honest, because now there are a lot of tools out there.
Yeah, like out of the box node or something like that.
Exactly. There is a lot of plug and play stuff, which I think is wonderful, because I mean, it saves you a lot of time. Doesn't mean that, I mean, if you're a tech guy, doesn't mean that you know all the commands by heart, that you know how to configure everything by heart. So it takes a lot of time and like research to get onto it. But if you have all these tools at hand, I don't see the problem using them. But if you don't know what you're doing, and you can run into the nasty problem of getting actually hacked. Yeah, like there are a lot of bad players in blockchain, unfortunately, and this is why it's super important that you at least know how to let's say, cover up your back in terms of network security. You need to know how your computers communicate to the internet through your router, how to put a good firewall in your router as well, and all these things in order to operate a good pool. Fortunately, in the Cardano consensus, is very, I would say, is the best staking conditions that you can ever find in the blockchain space, because in other blockchains, like let's say Polkadot or even Ethereum, there is this slashing concept, and the problem is usually this slashing also punishes stakers or delegators. So let's say if I'm a validator and I misbehave, like I try to create fake blocks, or even if my pool is has a downtime of a couple of hours, then I get punished, and also my delegators get punished for supporting me. Just by the fact that they are staking with my pool, they get punished.
Everyone is in the same place.
Exactly. And this is pretty much unfair, because the whole point of staking is to make it actually trustless as well. Like, why do you have to trust the guy that is validating the blocks, right? And this makes the job way easier to for delegators at least. And just the validators are actually subject of slashing if someone in the network actually realizes that there is a bad actor. So this is the only thing that you should consider. But of course, is I would say this is only a concern if you're really misbehaving in the network.
Channing, do you have questions for our guests?
Yeah, well, that was amazing. That the things that you have just said, that was a lot of things, covered a lot of things. Actually, I was going to ask, including what is slashing is, what these kind of things. There are a few things I want to go from the the easier ones first. So, and also it's a small world that you work for Oasis. They actually we're actually talking to Oasis people as well. So one of them is called Ben, and I've got another friend whose name is Julio. I'm wondering if you know Julio Caesar. So it's funny that we are in the same world. So first of all, I think my question would be you supporting Cardano and Oasis network, which is the Rose token. Do you mind to give us a brief understanding, like what do you think? Why do you start working on these two rather than Bitcoin or Ethereum? Where do you think it's a better, or why don't you working on Bitcoin? Is it because it's workable, or these kind of views?
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm not just like an engineer. I'm also an investor. I love finance and economics pretty much. So I think it's very important to diversify always, and also to understand how the blockchain space behaves. You also should know how the .com bubble works at the very early stages of the internet. So this will give you a lot of hints of how the markets speculate on technology and what will happen with blockchain as well. So just to be clear, back in the days, in the early 2000s, there were a lot of search engines out there. But just like Google was the big king of them, right? It was like the biggest success by far. I think something will be similar will happen with blockchains. Like you will have a couple of blockchains that will have the most success, most adoption, and then you will have all these other blockchains that will just remain a little bit more in the behind stage by just providing services or technology or whatsoever, right? So at the very beginning, I think as everyone, you pretty much run into Bitcoin when you jump into the Web3 space, right? Because it's the first cryptocurrency ever, and it's the most popular one as well, in terms of marketing, and also Ethereum. These two are the most well-known ones. But as a software engineer, I must call this out. These projects are proof of concepts. Bitcoin and Ethereum, they were just genius ideas of how to use this technology, this distributed system to solve all these problems that we have, like in trading, in identity, and so on, by using the power of cryptography, which is, I think that, is super mind blowing. Once you understand it, then you're all in. I mean, there is no way you're not all in if you get what blockchain can do. It's just genius.
Yeah.
But just to be clear, I actually sold all my Ethereum and Bitcoin as I realized that these blockchains are actually proof of concepts. They were not properly engineered. And it's super easy to see that these two blockchains are actually running into super severe scalability issues.
Yeah.
So to be honest, there's a big difference between these two. Like the Ethereum is a blockchain ecosystem, whereas Bitcoin is just like a blockchain to, let's say, transfer numbers from one wallet to another. So you could say like Bitcoin is the hello world use case of a blockchain, which is like moving cryptocurrency from A to B, whereas Ethereum is like a more complex, let's say, concept, because you can use shared infrastructure that is validating transactions to actually build dApps and validate so much other transactions on top of the same infrastructure. So you can abstract everything and even introduce the concept of NFTs, of smart contracts. And this is super powerful. So just do not mistake me, please. I'm a huge fan of these two projects because they changed the game for the whole industry. But I do not invest in them because I think the technology is quite deprecated. Yeah. So this is why I took a look at Cardano. I really like what I saw because proper software engineering project looks a lot like a proper civil engineering project. If you are building a building, you need your fundamentals super clear. You have to know your physics. If the place where you're actually building is seismic or not, what are the winds, what's the humidity? You have to have all of this in mind in order to build something that is going to last and it's going to be robust. And in software engineering is super similar. You need to have strong foundations. You have to know the use cases. And, in distributed system, in open source systems, is quite a challenge to achieve this. And I understand it, especially if it's like a proof of concept. So this is why I really like third generations layer one blockchains in this sense, because they pretty much learn from the mistakes of Ethereum. Why I just invest in these blockchains. And of course, there are new blockchains coming up that are also solving problems that this third generation hasn't solved yet. Confidentiality and privacy are one of those. And this is why I ran into the Oasis ecosystem after some time. So just to summarize, in my case, I'm running validation infrastructure for Cardano. I want to start validating also for the Oasis ecosystem, but at the moment I'm just focused on building on that ecosystem because thanks to these perks of privacy enabled smart contracts and NFTs, I saw a lot of use cases that are super valuable for the whole space. And awesome. The NFT bubble itself, like it was, to be honest, I never understood it because all these images and collectibles, and like I did understand the collectible thing, like it's a nice use case for art. But the problem is you cannot protect it because whatever you mint in the NFT space is public, or at least in the oldest blockchains. Yeah. But with Oasis, now you can actually mint something that has like a public image so that everyone knows what it is, and a public description or metadata. Mm-hmm. But then you have this confidential data that you can actually access just if you are the owner of this token. So this is like the true sauce of this technology. And in my opinion, like the whole fuss around the NFTs at the very beginning, that was like also like a very, very hello world use case in terms of what you can do with NFTs. Like art is super simple to understand, but actually NFTs are a concept that are way beyond that. Like that, you can do so much with it.
So
that is brilliant. I think you just went on autopilot, like answering a lot of questions I was preparing, and then you answering them one by one without me being asking them. So which is fantastic. And actually, we just talked about privacy last week, which was the main topic of our topic. So if Salim doesn't have any questions, I would like to ask, what do you think? What's your take on the privacy about the Tornado, Tornado Cash as well? But then I suppose Salim has some questions to ask that it's more important and more related. So here you go.
I just have a question about.
You are muted.
I'm so dumb. With that mute button is going to kill me. So, just before we go on to privacy, just let me try to picture that NFT concept you just told me. So, all right. I have a book. There you go.
Okay.
So this is the picture that would be displayed like the public-facing NFT, right? And just like I'm showing it to you, you can see this, but I can read what's behind it. Yes. And so this, because I'm the owner of it and I can do this, is this what you mean by those type of NFTs? Or did I understand it wrongly?
Yes. Like if we're taking the analogy of the book, I would say the front and the back are public information, because it's like a teaser of what's the book about, what's the title, and then you have like some text about the author, or like why the author wrote this book, what was the inspiration or the idea of it. And this is like usually the teaser of the book, but the inners, like all the content, that should be confidential, because if you're buying the book, it's because you want to access this data, this information. And you, like, if you currently use like the technology that is available, which is like, let's say on Ethereum, then your whole book will be an open book.
Yeah.
Ironically. And everyone on chain that knows the address of this smart contract where it was minted, the NFT, they can actually find it and read it and actually not pay a penny for it.
Yeah.
So, of course, there are like some centralized solutions to achieve this confidential or unlockable content effect, but they are centralized. OpenSea actually has a centralized solution for this, but of course, it's not very useful if you take a look at it, because once you take this NFT out of the OpenSea ecosystem, it's useless. So you're super dependent to it, and it's actually against the principles of decentralization. So this is why we decided we should create something with this amazing tech that the Oasis ecosystem is actually providing. It's pretty much the first time ever that we can create truly decentralized NFTs with confidential content. And the amazing thing is it's EVM compatible, so we can actually build a small bridge. Yeah. Exactly. And then we can make this available for all chains. So it's a very, very promising thing. And I think the market is actually craving for this, because everyone realized eventually that the NFT thing, like the art is cool, but it's probably not enough sometimes. So you also want more utility. People started to realize, okay, then let's add this club effect to the NFTs. So if you buy the NFT, you're part of a club, right? But at the moment, you cannot do much stuff because of these limitations. Like you cannot create like an NFT that has a QR inside that can give you access to these perks, or give you an entrance to this event, or that can actually you can put identity stuff inside there. And with Oasis, all this information is totally encrypted, and just you, the owner of the NFT, have access to this.
Awesome. All right.
So basically, what you can do is using an NFT as a verification system, but then you don't have to validate them on chain. So without using a Clubland or whatever, but then because of there's a QR code that's encrypted inside of the image. Without owning the NFT, you wouldn't have it. So you can go offline, you go anywhere, and flash the QR code, and you can get in without using, carrying your ledger all the time, and then validating, using the verification system all the time.
Yeah, exactly. But just to be clear, like in our bridge, you still need to validate the transaction when unlocking the contract, the contents. So this means if you have, if you're keeping your private keys in a ledger, then you might need the ledger still because you need to sign this transaction. But of course, we need to also tackle this because a big issue of blockchain, in my opinion, is usability. You know, it's not, if your grandma can't use it, is a problem. And just the fact that you have to carry this ledger, like not everyone actually understands what a ledger is. And I'm talking people that own ledger, they don't quite understand what ledger does. So there is a problem of education, also simplicity. So we need to pretty much apply the Apple effect to it.
Yeah. Could you explain to people, like if you have 1 or 2 minutes, what is a ledger?
What is a ledger?
In 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay, in 1 minute. This is a tough question, but I could say it's like a small log when you keep your signature.
Okay.
And when you perform a transaction, you need your signature, just like when you sign a paper, right? But imagine your signature, you don't even know what your signature looks like. This is why it's super secure. Like no one can fake it. It's unique. And it's locked in this small box, and you just can access it by putting your PIN in and actually signing the transaction using the device. But actually, you have to connect your device with a wallet that is connected to a blockchain. And of course, this is agnostic in terms of you can store as many keys as the device actually supports.
Okay.
I went over the minute probably, but this is like the simplest way I can put it.
Can you quick question? Can you hack a ledger, or if I'm using a ledger, that means I'm 100% safe from all the hacks?
Well, I mean, I'm a bad software engineer if I tell you yes. I mean, if I tell you no, sorry, that you can't hack it. You can't hack everything. There is not such a thing as 100% security.
Yeah.
Just to be clear. But to be honest, this is like the best security you can get at the moment in terms of how to protect your keys. Because one of the big issues is if you keep your crypto on a hot wallet, which means, let's say you just have a plugin on a browser or an application that runs on your telephone. The problem is this software stores the private keys internally in your device, and your device is connected to the internet. Which means if there's a good hacker out there that gets somehow access to your device and gets you to click on something in an email, something, then you download a small piece of software that opens a backdoor, then the hacker gets access to your device. And if he knows you have this application and knows where this application stores the keys of your wallet, you are pretty much fried. So this is why it's good to have these devices that are let's say non-smart devices, which means they're not connected to the internet. And this is why
like a piece of paper.
Exactly, like a piece of paper. So you just can access the keys by using pretty much the ledger middleware, and this keeps everything safer. I wouldn't say it's 100% secure, and if they are advertising this, they're probably lying a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely the best idea, especially if you have a portfolio over, I would say, 7,000 euros. It's totally worth it to have a hard wallet.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we've been talking about. Like this one, like especially for the people who trades NFTs like me, this one costs you like 0.1 Ether. Like that's how much it is. And if your NFT portfolio is larger than 0.1 Ether, you should probably get one of these. And then I've been personally being hacked a few times. That's when I started really looking into these things. And that's very, very important that we keep these things safe. And then especially in the cybersecurity realm. And actually, we should talk about this another time. But then this actually brings the what I'm thinking. Like using this one is not so easy. It's a little kind of complicated, and then you have to click a lot of things. And just because it's physical, that makes it secure. And then this company, they actually does these things. So when you are normally we write down our C phrases on a piece of paper, but then that's not 100% good because it's not weatherproof, it's not mold proof, all these things. So they actually have these like little iron pieces that carved inside that carve your seed phrases inside, and then they put in a capsule that's blocking everything. But then it's like the technology is going backwards. Like we can't use a piece of paper, we have to use the carving technology, and using the physical thing that's like using the floppy disk back in the days. So technology is moving backwards when it comes to safety, but it is moving forward when it comes to scalability and all these kind of things. So, which is a funny thing that we can talk about next time.
Yeah,
definitely. But I agree.
And just then, if you need, you're off the hook. There is something about stake pool. So I just want to come back to your hat of the stake pool operator. There's something I don't know about other chain, but I know for Cardano specifically, and you're on Cardano, so we'll talk about it. Stake pools can be mission driven. And what does that mean? And is your stake pool mission driven, or is your stake pool has a mission?
Indeed. That's a very, very good question. So yeah, definitely my stake pool is mission driven. And to be honest,
what does it mean first?
Oh, thank you. So mission driven means that you pretty much pledge that with the rewards that you're getting for validating transactions on a blockchain, you will invest a part of these rewards, of these profits, if you will, in a mission or in a project. Mm-hmm. So there are several stake pools with different missions. Some of them are just greed. Yeah. I mean, you just validate and just keep all the money. Some of them, they have the stake pool to pretty much inject money in a project. Like, let's say they are developing a D app, or they're developing a CNFT project that is super cool, and they offer this staking stake pool with all these staking rewards that also give you extra value in their projects. This is also something that you could do. But of course, the most beautiful thing of it is to have a mission that is actually altruist, and you can actually change the world with this. And of course, in my case, I donate at least 25%. Sometimes I donate more than this. And the mission of my pool is sustainability. So what we try to do is to strive to sustainable decentralized Cardano, which means we do not just provide infrastructure, which decentralized network, which is bare metal. We run on renewable energy, because we want to make this as sustainable as possible. And on top of this, we also support projects that are not just in the environmental point of view, but also in the social part. Okay. So we, at least our pool, we donate monthly at least 36 euros to the World Food Program. And this is enough to actually feed a family for a whole month. So I could proudly say like my pool actually feeds a whole family somewhere in the world with this with this small amount of money. You know, especially in Switzerland, this is like you can spend this in just one meal in a restaurant, and you can feed a family for a whole month with this money. So on top of this, we are of course working with the environmental part of our mission, and we are actually an active member of the Climate Neutral Cardano group. So it's basically an alliance of stake pools that have a similar mission, which is carbon neutrality and like sustainability. But in our case, our goal is also to make the network carbon neutral. Awesome. So yeah, it's quite exciting, but it's super hard, to be honest. Like it's not everyone likes the subject. But yeah, it's quite amazing because we were also collaborating with TechTree for the Cardano Forest last year. And that was an absolute success. Like we managed to actually engage with the community. We all donated a part of our stake pool rewards, and we actually managed to complete the 1 million trees. That was such a big milestone. And now we decided
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It was an amazing thing to accomplish that. And afterwards, we decided to keep moving forward, to plant more trees, do more, and because we have all this infrastructure and all of these stake rewards are flowing, so why not doing something good with it?
Yeah.
So what we decided now is to go for we met this NGO that is called TT Casa Ala in Madagascar.
Yeah.
And they have worked with the French government before. So they are pretty much doing this permaculture project down there in Madagascar. And what we're doing now is we're attaching an ISPO to this amazing project, and we call it the CNC Ala. Ala is, by the way, forest in Madagascar.
Yeah. Okay. Just before you continue, so an ISPO, for people that don't know, is an initial stake pool offering, and it's for projects on Cardano. I don't know if other chains do it, but Cardano does it. And basically, when you stake your Cardano onto that specific pool that is designated for the ISPO, it depends on the contract of the pool, but you can either receive part of your ADA reward for staking, part of your reward in ADA, and part of your reward in the new coin of the project, for instance. And this is a new way to, it's akin to an ICO, but instead of being an ICO, it's an ISPO. And you lock your ADA with the pool to help the pool validate blocks. The pool then gets rewarded because it has validated blocks, and it rewards the staker with either their own token or the ADA reward. But in the case of an ISPO, the aim is to generate the new token, and this is how they get released into the market or into the end of the users. So, sorry.
That's correct. Thank you for the explanation. Also, just to be clear, in Cardano, you never lock your funds from your stake. And this is like one of the coolest things, because in other protocols, you actually lock your stake, which is annoying because, let's say you lock it and the unlocking period is 4 weeks. And during those 4 weeks, there is a huge dump of everything.
I have PTSD of Luna.
So and then you're just like trapped in that stake pool. And then when you get to sell, it's too late, right?
Exactly.
But in Cardano, this is not the case, and this is why I really like the protocol, because you can trade, you can stake and trade all the ADA you have in that wallet without any limitation, and this is amazing. And just to complement perhaps what you said about the ISPOs, is such a powerful concept, and I agree with you. It's not. I think it's just proper of Cardano at the moment. I'm pretty sure other chains are going to catch up with this.
Yeah.
But it's basically a new way of riskless investment. But I mean, usually when you hear this word, it is a Ponzi scheme. This riskless investment, like, you put your money here, you'll get like 5% every month. This is like it's not possible. But in this case, it is, because what you're doing is you're staking your ADA with a pool. You're actually taking part in the consensus. You are using your money, your ADA, to help this pool increase their stake, and therefore the amount of blocks that they're assigned to validate in the network. And for that, you get an amount of money. Okay. And this is paid automatically by the consensus. So it's trustless. And it's amazing, because if you stake with a mission-driven pool, then this pool actually pledges to take the rewards that are assigned to the pool. It's not the rewards of the delegators. That's a different story. And Cardano is at least 340 ADA. And some pools have an extra % fee that they take from all the delegators. In my case, it's 0%. So I just take 340 ADA. And this is like the reward that you get every epoch if you validate at least one block. Yeah. So the beautiful thing of this is that you can take this money and actually invest in something. It could be a project, or it can be just a mission or a charity.
Yeah.
So it's actually amazing, the concept, because it's truly riskless. You don't actually invest a penny. You don't have to you don't have to pay anyone that money, and you can still support amazing missions with this. Yeah. It's such a revolutionary thing. That's why we're creating this proof of concept with the CNC ISPO, because the last ISPOs in the ecosystem have been just for greed, just to put in a simple word, like it's just a project and you just want to make profits, and it's just capitalism pretty much. Yep. But in this case, we can also provide value, the capitalistic value that people want and seek, which is ADA, of course, the regular ADA you get in any pool. On top of that, we are rewarding all these delegators that are staking with us with a coin that is called the CNC coin. And the idea is that you will earn NFTs.
That's for Channing.
Yeah. That we have these amazing partners. I don't know if you have like Cardano proxies, for instance, or Yomi Bears. We have also Earth Natives and the other Mother Lemurs. And we have these 4 amazing partners, and they also pledge to donate NFTs to the holders of our CNC tokens. So if you're staking with our pools, you will get your ADA, 100% of the ADA you should get, plus these tokens, which are a certificate that you actually participated in planting all these trees in Madagascar. And on top of that, you get amazing NFTs. So it's such a nice deal.
Yeah, and, that's like a 3-for-1 combo.
Exactly. And you get to plant 100,000 trees in Madagascar to make Cardano carbon neutral, and also to, of course, capture some carbon. We want to make in the future this actually, that you can actually redeem these tokens for carbon credits as soon as is possible, because there are some projects on Cardano right now, but they're not live yet. And on top of that, this project has a very, very wonderful social aspect, which is since we are planting 100,000 trees that are in a permaculture with permaculture techniques. We're also securing or improving the food security of the communities in there. Yeah. So these trees are not just gonna capture carbon from the atmosphere, but they're also producing fruits and vegetables, which can be consumed by the communities or even sold by the farmers, which also help them economically. And on top of this, there is more. We also are teaching them, the NGO Titikasala, our partner, are teaching them these permaculture techniques to also recover their soil, and they're also teaching them to the children of farmers, so that they don't have to actually go and work on the lands, but rather go to school and learn how to farm their lands, like the family lands, in a proper way, so that they can get more yield out of it, and they can recover their soil. So it's quite a complete, this is insane to be part of this. It's a lot of work, to be honest. This is consuming my private life in terms of time, because I'm super passionate about it. But yeah, it's super rewarding, because what we're doing is something that it hasn't been done yet. And this proof of concept is pretty much what we want to show the world, what Cardano is about and what the proof of stake consensus is about.
Awesome.
So, that is amazing.
Yeah, there you go, Channing. When because we had a convo maybe a couple months ago, where he was like, I have trouble, finding real use case and it's the same with me. When you talk to us that are in the crypto space, we kind of have an idea of the use case of it. Apart, there's the profit aspect of it, but there's also other real life use case. When my mom or when grandma ask, but what does your Bitcoin do? You can't eat it, you can't do stuff with it. And so this is one maybe that can definitely this is a real use case.
Yeah, it's actually called RealFi. That's the beauty of it. There is real humans profiting from this, and or nature is also profiting from this.
Yeah.
So it's quite amazing what you can do. But just to put a small difference between Bitcoin and perhaps all these altcoins, what are actually called in the markets, I would say Bitcoin is mostly reviewed as let's say store of value. But this, I don't quite agree with this concept though. But regardless, I just want to say layer one native tokens, which means all the altcoins, you should regard them as licenses. Just like if you're purchasing a Windows license to have Windows on your machine, or a Microsoft license to have Microsoft Office.
Yeah.
Because these coins are just a mean to pay for to the validators like me, for providing all this infrastructure to validate the blockchain. So this is why they should be reviewed or regarded as a license rather than a currency itself, like just you would take an euro or whatever.
Yeah. I have one last question for you, but maybe Channing has some for you. So.
No, so the first thing I want to say is this is so good. Like, this is long overdue. We should have this a long time before. This is so good. This is pure gold. And especially the part, like, normally when we do, what we do in this Pulsar show is we analyze about the news, the macro economy, about, we show people where the market is, tending to go for the next week or so. So that's what we do. But then what do we lack of? Like, sometimes we still do, but then what we lack of is the fundamentals, all these kind of things. What is crypto? How is crypto changing our world? Like, this part of thing is what we are lack of, and we should totally do this more and more. And then especially we touch on a lot of the simple questions, a lot of the deeper questions about, on the surface, what is one token to another token? What is the privacy, these things? And then we'll talk about, what the Cardano really does, besides being a stable coin in the whole bull market, all these kind of things. So it's amazing. Like, this is fantastic. I'm so glad that you're here talking to us about this.
Yeah.
So,
thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. I have one last, probably difficult question. Your pool pledges to plant trees or carbon offsets. Do you have to prove to the network or to someone else that you've planted X trees, or do we have to trust you?
That's a nice question. It's an excellent question, actually. So the thing is, blockchain is an amazing tool because it allows us to actually trade in a trustless environment, which means I don't need a centralized authority that certifies that me is sending money to you, like I send money to you. So of course, in this case, this is a challenge. This trust gap that there is outside of the blockchain, what actually people do promising something, is actually the biggest challenge. And this is where actually Veritree was introducing a very, very nice, let's say, tool to close this gap. And the idea of the Cardano forest was to not just like allow Cardano as native token to like all the holders to donate Cardano and to pay for these trees in Cardano, but also they were providing like all this infrastructure where the people on the field can actually take a picture of the trees that they were planting, and the idea is to keep all this data on chain so that people can actually take a look at how these forests develop. Because sometimes trees die, they're cut, and it's super hard to keep an eye on a huge forest with 1 million trees. So this is why Veritree was trying to make this more transparent, because at the moment, to be honest, when you donate money to a charity, there is zero transparency. You have no clue what happens with that money. And this is why actually blockchain is coming to change this game forever.
Especially in the charity, that's definitely for sure.
Exactly. And the beauty of this is that when you donate money, then you see the track of that money. You can actually follow what happened to that money. You see this wallet spent this and this and this money and sent it to this and this and this and these wallets. So at least you have a way, like there are some transparency issues still that you have to solve, but we're getting there. Like I'm pretty sure there are gonna be amazing solutions, especially built with Catalyst, that will make this more transparent for everyone. But at the moment, what we're doing is we're providing as much as evidence as we can as a group. So we actually send a drone down there to Madagascar, and we're also like asking the NGO to provide us with footage of what they're doing, with pictures of the nurseries of the plants that are going to actually plant in the coming weeks. And also the status of all the fields that they were actually planning to recover and so on. And at the moment, this is the best evidence that we can provide that we are fulfilling our mission, which is, taking all these profits from validating blocks thanks to the delegation, of course, of all the participants. And we're actually giving this money to the NGO, and this is totally trackable thanks to the blockchain. But of course, the gap, whether these trees are actually being planted or not, are actually right now covered by these images and footage.
Yeah. Okay. Because this is the part for me where like because I'm an idealist, like I would love to donate, like say, like like stake your ADA, save the world, or stake your ADA, fight global warming. Idea is good, but then as there is and this is where I wanted to ask you this, because like global warming is a trendy marketing topic as well, and so you can just do like greenwashing and stuff where you say like, give me your money, I'll plant trees, but if there is no proof and stuff, then well, they just get your money but no trees planting, and they are like running and they're running in SUVs, and so this is why I just wanted to ask like if there was a mechanism or something. But if I understood your answer correctly, for now it's up to the project or the person doing the project to provide proofs.
Exactly.
Okay. So this is something you have to watch out, kind of.
Indeed. So this is at least the only mechanism we have at the moment, which is like, making footage and providing as much proof as we can.
Yeah.
But indeed, this is a huge issue, and this trust gap is super important because if you're actually asking people for money, well, in our case, we're not asking for money; it's just like to stake.
Yeah.
But still, this value, we're promising something, and for this staking, and therefore where we should, or we actually must provide this evidence, because
I totally agree with you.
Is also at stake.
Yeah. All right.
So this is why for us it's super important, and I'm pretty sure we already did an excellent job with the Cardano forest.
Yeah.
So I hope the community also trusts us in this sense, that we will fulfill our part, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Do you have a question?
Yes. So by using the Cardano network, paying transaction fees, we actually benefit guys like you who cares about the environment, cares about the nature, cares about the planet. And by staking with you guys, we actually help you to help with the environment as well. So that is a very great thing to do. And where do we find you on the stake pool? What's your name?
What's your sticker and everything? Like if we have ADA, how can we stake it with you, for instance?
Very good question. So my pool is called GranADA Pool. So we have Twitter, we have Discord. So just you have to look for it. It's GranADA.
If you want to type in the chat, and then we can copy and paste it into the TechTree, the live stream.
I can provide you with all this information, and the ticker is GRANA. So you can find the pool in any tool like Pool Tool or adapools.org and so on. We're always happy to answer any questions if anyone has some inquiry or some questions regarding staking or whatever. Like, we're always happy to help. We're also happy to help people to create new pools. Like we're also we have all these scripts and all this information that can be useful for newies that we just want to jump in and validate as well. So this decentralized network more. So we're always happy to help.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much. Like, we even haven't touched, like, I wanted also to touch, because I totally forgot you had like that NFT thing on Oasis. And so, we are already running out of time. Like it went so fast. It went so fast. Maybe the chat. Do you have any questions for Vito? And you can talk when we like.
Yeah, just want to say if you wanna invite me again, I have so much things to talk about. To be honest, guys, like I love blockchain. It's my passion. this is why I decided to dedicate my career to it. And I just love what we can achieve with this. And in my opinion, this is like the key to our next step as humanity. Like it's going to be, we have industrial revolution, which is leading us pretty much to destruction. And then we have blockchain that will save us all. Like, this is the tech, guys. This is the tech. I really like it.
Yeah, it's what I say. Like the two most important tech for the 21st century in our everyday life is AI and blockchains, because both are like, they are changing our everyday life, like literally.
Literally, I agree. It's insane.
So thank you very much, Vito. Thank you, the chats. Thank you, Channing. And we should definitely do this more often.
Definitely. Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it.